Greetings, everyone. This is Jim Phillips. I want to share some things with you, some thoughts on a recent experience I had on Memorial Day. Prior to Memorial Day, I was invited to go out and put flags on the markers. Now, what you see behind me is a VA cemetery. Just like any other federal cemetery, that we have veterans markers, symmetrical, it just looks good. Now, did you know that that VA has a groundskeeping crew that maintains this? They go around with weed whackers and they do all the things necessary. And that's really cool that they do these on national cemeteries, all national cemeteries. Did you know they have a national cemetery at Andersonville? It is maintained, I think, by the Park Service, but nevertheless, it's still a national cemetery. But where I want to go with this is this. When I was out there on before Memorial Day, we were putting flags, and two things I noticed. One is not all veterans had veteran markers. So it was difficult to find some of the veteran markers. And the second one is the condition the veterans markers were in. Often the case, they were sunken. Now, these were on what we'd call more the private or public ones that are non-federal government. And these, the one I was at was at a Catholic cemetery. Now, I want you to think about this. In the past, cemeteries were the place to put your folks, and that they put a headstone there. And what would happen in the past is that the families would go and take care of the graves. They would visit their loved one, they would take care of the graves, and they would teach their children what they need to do to take care of their ancestors. Now, that's an important characteristic of the cemetery, is an opportunity for you and your family and your family's family is to get together and take care of their ancestors. Over the years, this habit has been lost. Some people do it, but for the most part, in our culture today, we don't do that. We don't go to the cemetery and take care of our loved ones, our ancestors. The same is true as veterans. We don't generally go to the cemetery and take care of veterans markers that have sunken into the ground. We just don't do that. Now, where this is going is maybe we should. I'm working right now with our local cemetery to take a look at what is necessary and what we can do to help lift up the veterans markers. We don't have the benefit of a federal cemetery, and we don't have the luxury at private cemeteries to have a grounds crew that does all of this. So what you end up having is families doing the piece that they're supposed to do. Now, I want to point that out. They're supposed to do that. This is not, oh, we just park them there and then, the grounds crew at the cemetery take care of it. That's kind of our job. They do some general maintenance and cleanup and mowing, but if there's issues with it, we either have to ask them to do it or we appeal to do it ourselves. I'm suggesting, as part of our responsibility to our kids and to those family members that we have, is that we do it ourselves. We lift up those things. As veterans, veterans organizations should be out there taking care of this. Now, there are plenty of videos on YouTube on how to do it. So this is not brain surgery stuff. This is responsibility stuff. We teach others by our witness, by our action. So what is going to be our action in the future? Do we say, well, that's just horrible that they let those stones go, when in fact, if you notice it, you need to do something about it. You need to call attention to it, and maybe you should be out there helping fix this. And I'm not saying that we should say, to the private cemeteries, well, you need to go out and take care of this. Rather, I'm saying is that you need to take care of it. And if it's your family member, you and your family member should take care of it. If it's a veteran, you and veterans groups should be out there doing something. If not you, then who? Shall we forget everyone? Have the tombstones and the headstones and the markers all sunk into the ground and lament over the fact that nobody did anything, when in fact you gave the clarion call that you saw it and you did nothing. So as we look at Veterans Day coming up in November, and as we look at Memorial Day for next year, is maybe you should take a look at your headstones that for your families and for any veterans that you know, and do your part and help out. I would suggest before you start digging up and moving around that you talk to the cemetery to find out what their standard is so that you can be of assistance. Final thing. If you have a veteran whose marker is headstone or memorial stone does not indicate that they're a veteran, you need to correct that. Recently at a cemetery I was at, some considerate soul went out there and took a stencil and sprayed V, with a spray paint. Well, that's just horrible. That's defacing the monument. Now, that's well-intentioned, but that's not what they should do. So we should be incorporating the cemetery and the family to remedy this. So I want to be able to leave that with you. You have a responsibility. I just told you. Now do it for your family, for yourself, and fellow veterans. This is Jim Phillips. Take care. I'm out.